who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey, Eldorados, Larry Elder here, and welcome to another edition of And Another Thing, edition number 27. I want to thank you all for your participation. Go to LarryElder.com to become a Eldorado. Tell your friends, better yet, tell your enemies. I want to talk to you about a couple things today. The first is Scott Pelley. Scott Pelley is the anchor of CBS News, and the second is Tiger Woods, the extraordinary golfer who recently bested Sergio Garcia and the field in a tournament called Players. Pelley first. Scott Pelley gave a speech at Quinnipiac College, and he said, "Our house is on fire." And he goes on to talk about what he means about our house is on fire. And you know what he means? He's talking about how from time to time the media gets facts wrong during late-breaking stories, such as the Boston bombing story. Scott Pelley reported that somebody was arrested, and it turned out he hadn't been arrested, and he said, "It was a hell of a story. Turned out it wasn't true. So I'll take the first bullet, if you will." And he apologized for our house being on fire. Our house, I presume he means the house of journalism. And by on fire, he means that from time to time, facts are gotten wrong. For example, we were given one estimate about the number of casualties during the bombing and challenged Hayward. And to my knowledge, Hayward has not responded. Our house is on fire. Real quick about Tiger Woods. So at this European tour dinner or whatever it was, Sergio Garcia is talking, and somebody says to him, "Are you going to invite Tiger Woods over for dinner?" or something to that effect. And Sergio Garcia says, "Yeah, and I'll serve him fried chicken every night." Okay, you know the stereotype, watermelon fried chicken, a racial connotation within a very short period, about whom somebody once said of Denzel Washington, who called himself an ex-slave. The closest thing Denzel Washington ever got to slavery was picking cotton out of an aspirin bottle. That's how I feel about Tiger Woods. You got to be kidding me. Goes to Stanford. What kind of has he experienced? What was he talking about? Nobody said anything. You know why? Because these are all these ninny little white reporters who, when somebody whips out the race card, will not say anything. What Tiger Woods just now said is your profession is racist. All you people who are covering golf, or you're covering a microcosm of a racist world, and you ought to know what he's talking about. Why didn't you ask him a question? Why didn't you say, "Tiger, are you having difficulty checking into a hotel? Tiger, are you having difficulty buying a home in a neighborhood where you want? Tiger, have you been pulled over for driving while Tiger? Tiger, have you been denied the right to vote? Tiger, have somebody asked you to administer a poll test before you're given a ballot to vote? Tiger, tell me where you have experienced it, both on the court and off the court. You had a chain of relationships with white women. Your wife is white. You're a person of color. Nobody cares. Wouldn't you think, if all this racism that you claim still exists, that you would be persona non grata? You'd be living in a Montana shack formerly owned by the Unabomber, Tiger? I mean, really? Please. You know what this is? This is this kind of thing where a lot of black celebrities do it because they want the brothers to know they haven't sold out. They want the brothers to know they're keeping it real. Just because I'm filthy rich, I can still relate to a post office guy. That's why Oprah goes over to Clifton from Carson City, Nevada. Larry, maybe it's just me, but I find the news to be the best comedy show going. In the spirit of comedy, what is your favorite newscaster that you like to lampoon? Love the question. Thank you very much. There's so many of them. I would say that whenever I really want some comic relief, and I'm not kidding, I cut on MSNBC, which I call affectionately MSNB Hee-Haw. They've got one left-wing doofy after another, each one probably more entertaining than the one before. They got a young guy named Sean something or other, Sean Smith maybe, I don't really remember. And he took the place of Ed Schultz, who apparently got demoted. He looks like he's about 17 years old, this Sean kid. He's probably about maybe mid to late 20s. And from what I can tell, and I didn't mention Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow probably is the smartest one of all the lineup on MSNB Hee-Haw, and probably is the most wrong and arguably the most dangerous because she's the most calm. And so when she says something inaccurate, as she does all the time, it has a greater amount of credibility. Now, having said all of that, MSNB Hee-Haw's numbers are in the toilet. They're at a 7-year slump. And I have a theory as to why. one would think that given these scandals, Benghazi, AP, IRS, that more people would be tuning on to these cable stations, CNN, Fox, and MSNBC, hee-haw, just to get abreast of the news. And it turns out they are. Fox is having very good numbers. CNN is having a nice bounce back, although the gap between Fox and CNN is still enormous, or as my nephew says, ginormous. But in the case of MSNBC hee-haw, their numbers have now fallen. Piers Morgan is now performing better than Rachel Maddow.
I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be in El Dorado. Go to my website, larryyoder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.